Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome to this Small Business Saturday edition of Furthermore with Amanda Head. I am delighted that you are here with me. And, I love politics, but I am really, really starting to love the conversations that we are having here with people who are on the health side of things. And this is something that I'm going to talk about with my guest today. But as many of you know who are regular listeners of the audio podcast or viewers of this, you know that I've kind of moved over into the woo-woo side of things, and we haven't gone crazy. I haven't become totally hippie, crunchy granola, but we have just been taking incremental measures to clean things up in our lives. So I am absolutely delighted to bring in my Small Business Saturday guest today. She is Caroline Carralero, and she is the CEO and founder of Daily Nouri. And you're going to hear all about their amazing products and what they can do for you. It doesn't matter if you're male, female, young, old, healthy, unhealthy, overweight, underweight, doesn't matter. You are going to love to hear what she has to say. We're just going to have a general conversation about how much gut health has to do with literally everything in your body, even your noggin. So stick around and we're going to be back on the other side. Welcome back, everybody, to this Small Business Saturday edition of Furthermore with Amanda Head. We are bumping right up against Christmas, and I know that people are still doing their Christmas shopping because if you're like me and probably most Americans, you do a little bit of procrastinating. And in my opinion, there is no better gift that you can give to people than the gift of health. And for a lot of people, and I am definitely moving into this camp. I think prior to this year, I never realized how important it was. But so much of the health of your body starts in your gut. Yep. So I am very excited to bring in Caroline Carralero. She's the founder and CEO of Daily Nouri, and she has just this incredible company. Caroline, I am so happy to have you and to talk to you so that our audience can be in on this conversation and hear all about what you're doing.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, thanks for having me, Amanda. To your point, it's a wonderful time to be talking about health, and it is the best gift that you could give someone. So appreciate the conversation, and I know we're going to dig into it, and hopefully we'll leave people a lot more educated than now.
Yeah, and I want to start with what I was just saying, because a lot of people who listen to my podcast know that up until this year, I mean, COVID changed a lot for us, but this year, my husband and I were radicalized by the Tucker Carlson interview with Casey and Callie Means. So during COVID, we were already moving over to the skeptical side because we didn't get vaccinated, and we watched in amazement. And we were also, we were perplexed, I suppose, by the amount of people who were so willing to buy into the narrative about COVID in general. So they were willing to mask up and stay inside and do all the things that are contrary to what a typical healthy lifestyle would be, which is being outside, getting natural vitamin D, exercising, doing all these things. But then to take it one step further, people who were so willing to take the vaccine and not even a care in the world about the fact that it had only been on the market for a little while, and possible side effects and all the components that go into these vaccines. So we were already a little radicalized after COVID. But then when we saw that interview with Casey and Callie Means, and Casey Means was talking about gut health. And so I, of course, went down this YouTube rabbit trail and found out all sorts of things about your gut and how it pertains to even like sex hormones and stuff, which you would think, how on earth does that affect this totally other system of our body, our endocrine system? But it really is it's the center of everything, not just positionally in the body, but when it comes to function as well.
Yeah, that's it. So, I mean, we have a slogan that we like to say at Daily Nouri, and it's good health starts with gut health. It's a foundation for human health. So I spent, over 10 years in the food and beverage industry, and mostly was working on health and wellness products. So I've been, servicing customers like Whole Foods and Sprouts and Costco's and Walmarts and et cetera for over 10 years. And, that's what inspired me to really dedicate the rest of my career to the gut microbiome, is that it is the center of health, and it is so important. And it's a difficult project to take on because it is invisible to the human eye, right? So out of mind, but yet is really controlling us from head to toe. And such a good example. I mean, just going back to the COVID example for just a minute here, the studies that have come out post-COVID correlating gut health to more I would say less severe cases of COVID are pretty astounding. And that's because 70 to 80% of your immune cells reside in the gut. And so so effectively you don't have an immune system without your gut. And so when you look at what happens because COVID, right, this was a new virus for our bodies. We had never seen something like this. So when a new virus comes in, the body and how we're created, which is just really so special, and it's why human beings and our health really should not be taken for granted. Our bodies are created in a way to attack these pathogens when they come in. But if your gut is not functioning, then your immune system also can't function. And so you can see in the studies post-COVID that those that went into COVID with poor gut health, and these were these underlying health conditions we talked about, right? So things like being overweight, obesity, diabetes, et cetera, but poor gut health in general, they had a much harder time fighting off COVID. And so we know that because we're losing because of our diets, which I want to talk about, but because of our diets and the environmental toxins, we're losing this good, diverse bacteria that we need in our bodies. And the way to think about that is when we lose that bacteria, we're actually losing functionality, right? That bacteria, that good, diverse bacteria, gives us this functionality that we need. And so part of that functionality, to your point, is hormone health. Part of that functionality is metabolic health. And then part of that functionality is, of course, our immune system. So yeah, it really is a central part of human health. And it's one of the most important, if not the most important thing that we can focus on moving forward. So yeah. Really appreciate you having us, and definitely excited to dive in more. Callie and Casey Means have done a wonderful job. Both their interview on Tucker and their interview on Rogan are fantastic. They communicate very clearly, and between them and RFK and everyone that's working on this, I'm very encouraged. We've got a big mountain to climb, some really serious issues, but I'm really encouraged going into 2025 because at the very least, the truth is being exposed, and that's always the first step to really making some good progress and change. So that's encouraging.
Yeah, and that was another thing that kind of moved my husband and I over into the woo-woo category, where we're trying to buy organic now and whole foods and not processed foods. And I'm even, gosh, I feel like I'm tossing out $100 worth of skincare and makeup every week because I have these three different apps, Yucca, Little Bean, and Healthy Living. And I enter in the ingredients, or you can scan the ingredients, and it feels like every single week I realize that I have a product that I use that I haven't scanned yet, and then it's like, oh no, it has this in there and this in there, and this causes cancer and leukemia and endocrine disruptor. So it seems like every week I'm dumping something else, but I totally agree. It feels like we are on the precipice of something, a galvanic shift in the health industry. And I think a lot of people were surprised right about the time that we became radicalized by the Casey and Callie Means interview was about the time that RFK endorsed President Trump. And we were actually down in Orange County to see Tucker Carlson on tour, and RFK Jr. was the surprise guest. And Vivek Ramaswamy had already been announced as a special guest. So Tucker comes out and everybody cheers, and then Vivek comes out and everybody cheers, and then RFK came out. And again, this was right after he had endorsed President Trump. So I didn't know how MAGA was going to receive him.
Right.
Let me tell you, girl, it was where the Ducks play in Anaheim. And what arena is that down there?
Honda.
Yes, Honda, the Honda Center. And let me tell you, the Honda Center shook when he came out. And my husband and I looked at each other and we were like, oh, wow. Okay, this is really something. And I think a lot of people were surprised that President Trump so wholeheartedly embraced RFK Jr. because he does have some kind of outside of the conservative mainstream ideas, especially in the energy sector. But this is the thing about President Trump. If you are a free thinker, if you are someone, especially if you have outside of the box ideas, he'll listen, he'll sit down and have a conversation with practically anyone. And a lot of the stuff that you talk about that your products improve are a lot of the things that RFK has spoken about for a long time. So I wanna bring that back around to what you mentioned about diet, because for so many people, changing your diet to lose weight is a hard thing. Changing your diet to be healthier is a hard thing. When it comes to changing your diet to naturally healing your gut, absent taking supplements or something like that, what do we need to look at as the key factors in doing that?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, heading into the new year, there's this day. It's literally like a national day of quitting. And I think it's January 17th or 18th, something like that. But we know that most people make these big resolutions and then don't stick with them. So the
Right.
biggest thing is take steps that you can really sustainably keep, right? So that's the biggest thing. So maybe it's one small change. This stuff isn't easy. Just to be very plain, our food is designed to be addictive like a drug. It is very, very intentional, and it is very hard to stop eating it. And we'll get to this in a minute, but this is why it makes it very sad for children. It's very sad, and it's quite evil and corrupt when you really look at it, because it's very hard for an adult that has more cognitive ability and knows that this is making them overweight and sick to stop. And imagine if you're a 6 or 7 or a 10-year-old child. It's nearly impossible, and it's very difficult. So that's what RFK is trying to get at, really, at the end of the day, is our children. But at the end of the day, I mean, the biggest thing here is the American diet right now is between 60 and 90% processed foods.
Oh my
The
gosh.
diet for children is 70% highly processed food. So the first thing that I would say, and I was just talking on a panel in LA this weekend around our hormone balance product. So I was speaking specifically to women. Everyone in the room was of reproductive age that are all struggling with things like PCOS, endometriosis, right? Skin health issues, acne. The first thing I tell everyone isn't to take our supplement. Our supplement is a supplement to diet and lifestyle. And we're very, very clear on that, right? We do not prescribe to the magic bullet, theory here. No, you have to really do the hard work, and the supplements will help. And we can talk about that, but they only help as much as you also have put in the effort, right? And so the first thing and the biggest thing that I would tell anyone, man, woman, any age, right? From, unfortunately, our infants all the way through elderly, which is so sad, is to just cut the highly processed foods out of our diet. So said another way, eat real whole foods and organic when you can, right? But eat real whole foods. That's hard, I understand. But even if you just start chipping away at that, that's the best thing that you can do, right? So that's the first thing that you can do, and it's the most tangible. That will help reduce that inflammation. It'll help with the gut microbiome. Your body, and this is the most amazing thing, your body will heal, right? Our bodies are created to heal. They will heal, and that's the point. And that should be so encouraging to everyone. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to stay consistent with it. But if you eliminate that highly processed food, your body will start to heal, which is awesome, right? And you will see tangible results. This is very different with the GLP-1 drugs, right? That are a loop, and you have to stay on them. And this is why that should not ever be our first line of defense, right? For certain populations, yes, it should exist, but it should not be our first line of defense. Your first line of defense should be the root cause, which is food. Then after that, adding in exercise and just walk, just get out in nature and walk. That's one of the best things you can do to digest your food, right? So eat a little earlier if you can in the day and just walk. I know some places, in the country are really cold, and it's really hard to get outside during this time of the year. I understand that there's not a lot of light, but try your hardest to just walk for a few minutes a day. Getting in nature is also one of the best things you can do for your gut microbiome, right? So getting outside in nature and going for a walk, and then you can add in supplements, and supplements will help. But I would not say that that's the first thing you do. The first thing you do is we've got to really take a hard look at this highly processed food. And that's, again, what Callie and Casey Means are saying, what RFK is saying. So the US right now, out of all of the highly developed nations, is paying more for health care than any other nation, and we are ranked last in preventing what are called avoidable deaths, which are deaths that can be preventable by lifestyle intervention. That's what RFK is saying. That's the mission here. It's like to really get to the root cause of that. So the proposal to treat this 74% of the US population that's obese or overweight, the proposal by drug companies to treat that issue with a GLP-1 drug like an Ozempic is going to cost the US $3 trillion, versus when you look at what would happen if we treated that with food, it would cost us about 1/5 of that. So that's really important for us to note, is that, it doesn't get to the root of the problem. And it's also a recurring cost for the American people, which is quite terrible, right? We could use that money to do something highly productive for our country.
But it doesn't make as much money when you heal people as opposed to just treating them.
That's right. And the healthcare industry is the largest industry and the fastest growing. And it is very, very profitable that the American public gets sick and stays sick, which is why this is very important that we all know this. It's why a six-year-old is one of the best things for that industry to keep growing, because they're 6 years old, they're sick, and they're stuck on forever drugs. That is terrible, right? And we have to just be very, very transparent about that. This isn't about vanity and being skinny and pretty. This is about human potential. And it's about us really supporting and championing our fellow Americans, because I don't believe that Americans have an attitude of everyone being lazy and overweight at all. We're a country that has great ideas and great energy and great potential. And when you put a 6-year-old on a drug forever, that diminishes the potential of someone's life in a significant way when they're stuck on these forever drugs. So again, there's a time and a place, I think, for a GLP-1 drug, of course, in very severe cases, diabetics, etc. But this should not ever be our first line of defense.
Yeah, it's insane. And when you put children on drugs that early on, or even if you don't, even if it's just, the processed foods from a very, very young age, that throws off the hormonal balance. And,
Yep.
another thing that has been widely discussed is the fact that, for boys and girls, but mainly for girls, because we have this marker of having a period.
Yep.
Periods, when I was growing up, I think most girls got their first period when they were 14, 15,
Yeah.
maybe on the later side, 16. And now I can't remember the statistic, but now it's closer to 10 years
It's
old.
starting as low as 10, even a little
Ugh.
younger, but that's because of the food supply.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's a lot of because of the food supply, and environmental toxins play a role in that too, but it's what we're eating. It's really, really unnatural, and it's awful.
Yeah, and I want to broaden that into a conversation that I think is going to apply to much of my audience, because 80% of women experiencing symptoms of hormonal imbalance. So some of the stuff that you mentioned, the weight gain, the mood swings,
Yep.
PCOS related to extreme pain during periods, skin problems, fertility issues, all of that. A significant amount of what contributes to either the health of our hormones or the balance of our hormones versus the imbalance is in our gut, right?
Right. Yeah. So we just developed a product. Our newest product is called Hormone Balance. It's a probiotic with prebiotics. And the whole thesis of the product, we started working on this last year. We actually developed a probiotic for menopause. And the idea is that we actually, and this is, something that, again, with all of this new education and awareness and conversation, women are not educated on how their body works. And it's alarming. You talk to teenage girls and it's easy to just pop a birth control pill when you don't know the implications of that. So we've got to do a better job of really telling the truth to younger women and teaching them about how their bodies work. But one thing we didn't know, and this is a pretty technical thing, so this is newer to the conversation, but women have something called an estroblome, which is just imagine the two words microbiome, which is this composition of bacteria in your body, and estrogen coming together, estroblome. And it's this subset of bacteria in your gut that's responsible for estrogen metabolism. So what you're talking about is a lot of these issues like endometriosis, PCOS, which are these estrogen dominant issues, right? And so what we have is this subset of bacteria that's helpful with metabolizing estrogen. So again, going back to your gut, not only your immune system, your gut and your brain, serotonin and melatonin, but it's incredibly important for women in estrogen metabolism and to balance your hormones. So that's something that we're looking at. And so what we did, we thought of it because at the core, right, we're a gut health company, right? So we're really looking at the GI tract and digestive health. But of course, now that we know that spans to impact the body from head to toe. So this product's really holistic in that we're looking at, okay, how do we help with hormone balance through this estrogen metabolism? And then also, how do we address some of the downstream implications of hormone imbalance that we know a lot of women, especially again of reproductive age, this 20s, 30s, 40s are dealing with. So these are things like weight gain. and skin and acne, adult acne, and other things like vaginal health. And then, of course, just your core digestion and immunity as well. So this is a big topic and something that, of course, we're looking at it through the lens of the gut. Everything we do is really looking at how do we modulate, which is change, right? How do we positively change the gut microbiome to reflect positive results for whole body health? But this is something that is so important. And I will go back to a previous point in that if you're struggling with something like a PCOS, which unfortunately now is the leading cause of infertility, and it's impacting somewhere between 7 to 10% of women. There's still a lot of undiagnosed cases and stuff, but it's really growing. This is a metabolic issue, right? And so you have to, again, this is why we're going to keep going back to this. You have to go back to the food. You have to go back to the core of our health, and you have to really look at the foods that you're putting in. Are those damaging your microbiome? Are those supporting your microbiome? You can obviously take a supplement. We highly recommend it, but you can't ever, just excuse the fact that if you're eating, a McDonald's 3 times a day, that's not going to work. It's so unfortunate. And we're eating these estrogen dominant foods, right? So that's what's going on. That's why we're seeing these younger periods in girls we've never seen before, several years younger, starting their first period. And so, again, I will say this, and I keep going back to this, the most encouraging thing is that the body's super resilient. So you make these changes and you can really notice an impact. You got to stick with them, but you can really change. And you talk to anyone, right, who's either lost a lot of weight or has, just changed the way that they're dieting and exercising. You will talk to them and they'll tell you the same thing. They'll say, I feel good, I'm sleeping better, I have more energy. And it's just because of the changes of what they're putting in their body. And so same thing with women. They're treating PCOS. Unfortunately, most of the ways that our OBGYNs treat it in the US is to recommend a birth control pill, which this is just kind of like perpetuates the problem. And that's a bummer. I think that we're getting a little bit better where that's not necessarily every OBGYN at all. Don't get me wrong. Mine certainly doesn't do that, but that's a lot of the standard care. And then when you look at like how the UK treats a PCOS, they treat it through things like the ketogenic diet, which is like, there you go. That makes a lot more sense. So I think we're getting there. And the more that we talk about it, the better it will get.
Well, and I love the research that you guys put behind these products, because it's not like, like for the reproductive or for the hormonal imbalance one that you're like, okay, well, let's throw in, some B complex and C and folate and magnesium and all this stuff. You guys actually put the research behind it. And we're going to talk about that in just a moment on the other side. We do have to take a quick break, but we'll be right back.
Welcome to the Nouri Body Shop. I help people with their gut problems. Next, take Jess. This body is a beaut. Thanks. On the outside, but you pop the hood and we got some issues. Here at the Body Shop, I see a lot of problems in the body caused by a misfiring gut-brain connection. Nouri is a probiotic that helps solve those problems by improving that connection between your gut and brain. Gut sensitivity, gas or bloating, weird gut sounds. Just take Nouri Digestive Health.
Thanks, Nouri. Citrusy.
Oh, I am so backed up, I might blow a gasket.
Nouri Digestive Health can help with that too.
Oh, and where's the bathroom?
Please go home.
Might not make it.
Nouri offers specific probiotics to match your individual health needs. You take what you need and nothing you don't. Unlike my mom's cupboard. Get lost in there.
I'm just too hot.
Okay.
Like literally, I'm having hot flashes.
Take Nouri Menopause Health.
Okay.
Thanks, Nouri.
Next, take Lisa, for example. Look at how stressed she is.
If I could just control everything, then life would be perfect.
Until she takes Nouri Stress Support, her upset gut will send cortisol to the brain, causing her to stress out, which can result in occasional overeating, constipation, bloating.
Diarrhea. Not that I have that. But if I did.
Take Nouri Stress Support daily. That'll get you running regular.
Thanks, Nouri.
Ever since I turned 40, my metabolism has been slowing down. Is there something we could do about this?
Take Nouri Weight Health.
Oh, thanks, Nouri.
A lot of probiotics aren't made to survive your stomach acid, so some of that good bacteria is killed off in transit. Pour one out for the little guys. But Nouri's capsule-in-capsule technology uses plant-based omega oils to protect the probiotics and is clinically shown to survive harsh stomach acid and deliver 2 times the good bacteria to the gut. Yeah, so I guess we didn't need to pour one out.
This stuff works great.
I know, right?
Also, you're out of toilet paper.
I said go home! Oh, win's a win, I guess.
Welcome back, everybody. All right, so I want to get into some of the fundamental ingredients of like the Hormone Balance Probiotic. You, as I said, this wasn't just like throw in everything but the kitchen sink. You partnered with a reproductive endocrinologist to bring wisdom to what needs to contribute to this. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so just speaking now specifically to the probiotic category, most people that are listening to this have heard of probiotics, have heard of gut health. So speaking specifically to the probiotic category, historically, the probiotic category has been dominated by a lot of advertising around high CFU count, which stands for culinary forming units. And the public has assumed that more means better, and so they've bought these products that have more CFU count. That's not true, right? It's quality versus quantity. So we've taken an approach with all of our products to source and run our own science and have clinically supported probiotic strains. And every single strain of bacteria that's in the product has a purpose. Imagine that, right? They're not just thrown in there for filler. They all have a purpose. So speaking directly, and we could go through all the products with this, but I'll speak directly to the Hormone Balance product first. It's a blend of 7 different bacteria that are specifically targeted to, one, support hormone balance. And that's through what I was just talking about, through this estrogen metabolism mechanism of action. And then also to help with weight health, right? And metabolic health, to help with skin health. So we have a strain of bacteria that is specifically targeted to help with adult acne after 90 days. So you do have to stay consistent with it, but it's through the gut. It's healing your skin through the gut, which is pretty awesome. And then vaginal health, digestion, and immunity. So it's a very, very well-rounded probiotic for women. And then the kind of also technical fun secret sauce in this is we have a probiotic. It's called a bacteriophage. And what it is it's a low dose prebiotic that's actually a virus that works for us. And so you ingest this bacteriophage and it essentially eliminates the bad bacteria in your gut microbiome within 5 hours. So it gets to work fast. And it essentially, when we ran the study, we looked at E. coli. So the one way to look at these supplements and taking a high quality probiotic is, does your body actually have the real estate for that good new bacteria to grow? And most of ours don't, because they're filled with a bunch of junk. And so when you take this bacteriophage, it actually eliminates the bad bacteria growth by 99% in 5 hours. And then thereby allows that good bacteria to really grow and get to work. So when we looked at this in our in vitro study, the bad bacteria was reduced by 99%, so almost entirely within 5 hours, and the good bacteria grew by 490%. So it was a really, really awesome outcome. So that's how we look at innovation, right? And it's a very, very thoughtful. I understand, especially with I never planned to get into the supplement industry, just to be frank, and a lot of these companies just feel like marketing companies, right? They're just out there to market and make a lot of money. That's not us. We have a very strong mission. How do we help Americans with high quality, clinically supported products that really move the needle for them? But then how do we make sure that this brand is the most accessible? And so what that means to us is 2 things. One, distribution, which is easier nowadays, right? So it's direct to consumer, Amazon, Walmart, thousands of grocery stores. But most importantly, it's price. And so all of our products are priced between $19.99 and $39.99 a month. And so we're going to be
it's really reasonable,
really competitive. Yes, because through all the research, an average American family household makes $80,600. With that type of income, you can't afford hundreds of dollars of supplements a month.
Right.
Not obtainable, and it's not realistic. And so that's one thing that we're very bullish on, is how do we make sure we can reach as many people as possible.
I think that's amazing. And when it comes to health, I feel like that's the marker of someone who actually cares about health and therefore has a good product, is the fact that they're not actually trying to just bank on it or cash in on it, I guess I should say. And for our audience, you go to the website dailynouri.com, Nouri, and I'm looking at your product offerings, and it's 5 stars across the board, and not like 2 reviews. 117 reviews, 87, 97, 98 reviews on each of these products. And I actually just heard this term from my brother-in-law last week, gut-brain axis.
Yeah.
Okay. What is that?
So the gut-brain axis is a bidirectional, so meaning going both ways, bidirectional communication between your gut and your brain. So the neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine are actually produced in your gut. So when you look at cortisol levels and stress response, the root, again, the root of that is in the gut. The root of how your body responds and these neurotransmitters and how they work are all in the gut. And so we have a probiotic called a Stress Probiotic, right? So it's gender neutral, right? A lot of men take it, a lot of women take it. It's one of our top selling products. Obviously, we've been talking a lot about the Hormone Balance product. That's a women's product. We have a lot of product for men too. And the Stress product, essentially how it works is it protects your body from the very inside, from your gut every day from this stress. And so the bacteria in your microbiome actually impacts your mood and your feelings through these messages, these signals that get sent up and down along the gut and brain connection. So one thing that I always say to people, which I think is a really good kind of hook, but it's also a really good, indicator. Have you ever been so stressed that your stomach hurts? And most of us say, yeah, like whether it's in, getting on an interview, if you don't like public speaking or getting in front of people, or just stressed about an exam, stressed about marriage, stressed about life, whatever, money, and your stomach starts to hurt. That's because the neurotransmitters are going back and forth between your brain and your stomach. So again, back to what you said at the front of the podcast, the gut is so important for all of these things. And so that is why you heard your brother talk about the gut and brain connection.
I love that. Okay, so we've covered the hormonal balance formula. That was the Stress Probiotic. I want to move on to the Advanced Digestion Probiotic. This is, I feel like I talk to so many people who have, excessive gas or, hard time pooping, whatever the case is. Tell us about this one.
Yep. So this product, we actually just reformulated it last year. It's really focused at really looking at things that are pretty serious, like IBS and leaky gut, because that's a lot of the American population is suffering with that. So we say, if you're just looking, if you've never had a probiotic before that you've taken consistently and you want a good place to start, this is a great product to start with. It's a great daily maintenance product, but it is, hence the word advanced in the rebrand of this product. It is very specific, looking at, actually, we looked at the pain, and we can't say that word on the packaging, right? I can talk about it in this episode and can talk about the clinical studies, but we don't advertise this. We looked at the pain levels of people with IBS and reduced the pain levels. So this kind of abdominal discomfort, right, is what we're really looking at. That's the safe word of what I can say. But we really actually, the clinical looked at pain levels. And so we're looking at IBS, we're looking at leaky gut, but just from a general kind of maintenance product, this is also a terrific product. So it's a blend of lactobacillus and bifidobacterium that are very, very targeted to look at, reducing gas and bloating, digestive comfort, looking at gut barrier strength, again, back to the leaky gut, and then also nutrient absorption. So all of our products, because they're probiotic based, will have a digestive benefit. Every single product will have a digestive benefit, but this is like your core digestive health product that if you've never taken one before, and or if you have something like IBS or leaky gut, we always recommend you start here.
I love it. This is the Mac Daddy for those types of issues. You are so well versed in all of this stuff. So I want to make sure that we hit a few more of these products. The weight probiotic.
Yeah, this is a fun one. This is, something, and I'll kind of tease something that we're bringing out next year. This is something that we developed a while ago, actually. This was something that I first developed when starting the company. It's built, the product's built off of a bacteria called Lactobacillus gasseri, which is shown after 90 days of consistent use, which is hard, right? So I'll get to that in just a minute for compliance. But after 90 days of consistent use, it reduces BMI, it helps with metabolic health, and it also helps with reducing hip and waist circumference. So it's a very, very effective product. And so this product's national. It's one of our best-selling products at Walmart, right? So it's national product at Walmart, sells well on Amazon. And we're developing now more into this category. So kind of back to what I was saying around the GLP-1 drugs, we're seeing a huge demand for weight and metabolic health products. So we're developing another, I'll just say it's a prebiotic-based product that helps with really craving control and appetite control, and that's going to launch in February. So this is going to have a little product family almost around it with multiple different weight and metabolic products, because it's one thing to just talk and fill the airwaves with, okay, taking a GLP-1 drug isn't great. What do you do practically? You know, what do you tell people to do practically? Because yes, you've got to change the diet, but these supplements can be a really, really practical way for consumers to get some help. And so that's how I look at it, is I always want to be someone that's very vocal and very clear on how we can help people live healthier and longer lives. But I also want to be super practical on like, hey,
Amen.
something we can really provide and show up with. So so that's our weight probiotic. It sells very well. You got to stay consistent with it. And like I said, you can't keep eating, a poor diet and get as good of results as you want. But if you lean in and you really change your diet and then supplement with this, you can see some terrific results.
I love it.
And yeah, stay tuned. We're going to develop a new product and it'll be out.
And it's easy to stay with these products because they're not going to break the bank. So I want to finish with the menopause probiotic. This has got resveratrol in it. Tell us about that one.
Yep. So last but definitely not least is our menopause probiotic, obviously for women of menopausal age. It's really looking at how do we just make this time more comfortable, whether you're going through hormone replacement therapy or deciding to just go through menopause naturally. The idea behind this product is, again, to help with this hormone balance throughout menopause. As I talked about earlier, estrogen metabolism, right? So during our menopause, this time of life as women, our estrogen levels drop. So this estrogen metabolism is more important than ever. And so this is a product that supports estrogen metabolism, hormone balance throughout menopause. And then this resveratrol, right, is really helpful to reduce the hot flashes and night sweats. So resveratrol is just this antioxidant that's very rich and helpful with some of these uncomfortable symptoms. So again, most of these products are available national at Walmart, Amazon, direct to consumer. It's out there pretty much wherever you decide to shop. There's a product there for you, and we're doing everything we can to keep the price point low and the innovation and the quality super high.
I love that. And I want to talk about the business side before I let you go, because it's one thing to offer these products and make it readily available direct to consumer via a website, but for a lot of people, they're just more comfortable shopping on Amazon or even, Walmart, going into the store or Walmart orders. That's what we do.
Yep.
It sometimes it's hard for businesses to break into the big box stores. What was that process like for you?
Yeah, great question. And this is something I'm asked quite a lot. So I had a background in food and bev. So I have worked with these retailers, pretty much all of them. You name one, I've probably worked with them anywhere in the US since about 2012. And mostly in food and bev. So I had never worked in the supplement category, but I knew from the very beginning of building Daily Nouri that we wanted this to be an omni-channel brand, meaning available in stores and online. What I didn't know in hindsight was just how powerful Amazon would become for this category. And you can look at the numbers for yourself. It's pretty astounding. Amazon will sell about $15 billion this year in vitamins and supplements. So it is growing super fast. And of course, as you know, with Prime, consumers can get something the same day or the next morning between 4 and 8 a.m. and it's incredible. So that is the reality of the world we live in, but we still very much so value our retail partners. And so kind of on the flip side of that, with Walmart, there's a Walmart store within 5 miles of about 90+% of our country.
Oh, wow.
They've been a very strategic partner. And if you've been watching the markets, they're performing very well in comparison to like a Target. They're really holding their own and they're really performing well. So they've been a terrific partner for us. And then the grocery stores have also been a terrific partner. So we've really look at it as when we come into these stores, and this is the advice that I give any other product that wants to be in a big box retailer or wants to be in one of these retailers at all, is you've got to come and you've got to be providing some sort of incrementality, some sort of difference and benefit to that buyer, right? So you can't come with the same thing the next guy has in a different package. You really have to look at incrementality and value. And right now, again, and this is something that doesn't translate necessarily from the D2C world into the stores, is that price matters, because someone will buy something once on like a heavy discount or an ad D2C, but when you're in the store, you're looking at your basket and you're like, holy moly, this is expensive, right? Then you get up there and you're like, okay, I'm not going to get these expensive supplements or whatever else is adding to the cost. So it's a very different consumer behavior. And so that's the other thing just to kind of be mindful of, is that the price really matters when you get into retail. And of course, you're giving them a margin, right? So it gets tighter and tighter. But the biggest point is, if you're going to approach one of these big customers, I could talk about this for hours. You've got to have a really secure supply chain, a really great safety and quality program, but you really need to, just from a sales and positioning and R&D perspective, deliver some sort of incrementality to that customer.
Yeah. I mean, all of these different aspects of your experience, it's very clear why Daily Nouri has become so successful, and you guys put out such an incredible product. Tell everybody where they can find out more about your company and purchase.
Yeah, well, thank you, Amanda. You can find out more about the company at Daily Nouri, DAILY, Nouri, NOURI.com. So dailynouri.com, Amazon, Walmart, Albertsons and Safeway, H-E-B in Texas, Meijer, onward. So there's thousands and thousands of stores across the country, but the best place is just jump on the website or get on Amazon.
I love it. And on the website, by the way, guys, they have a bundle and save option, so you can bundle together a few of those products and save.
Yep, and we've got terrific customer service. So if you don't like the product, reach out to us and we will make sure you get a product that you like.
I love it. I'm on the website now and I'm just reading through some of these reviews, and oh, man, I mean, everybody has such amazing, amazing things to say. So the proof is in the pudding, guys. Everybody go check them out, dailynouri.com. Caroline Carralero, an incredible product. So glad we had this conversation today. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Amanda.
My pleasure. All right, everybody, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back on the other side. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, so I just want to offer some wisdom from my perspective on things and kind of give you some ideas for cleaning up. So as I mentioned with her, yeah, I'm really trying to clean up on the health and beauty side of things, or the beauty and skincare side of things. When it comes to my makeup, I have switched over to a number of clean beauty brands. Right now, RMS is one of my favorites. I use, let's see, they don't really have a foundation, but they have this like tinted SPF serum, and it's a mineral-based SPF, so it's not chemically, and it's got kind of a little bit of a shimmer. So if you're averse to shimmer, obviously it's not going to be up your alley, but I actually buy 2 of their different shades. They have a light and medium and a dark shade, and I actually mix the light and the medium together. So I don't wear a foundation, that's all I wear. But I also use their highlighter. I use their eye cream shimmer things. I can't remember what they're called, but they come in a little tube. What else do I use of theirs? Oh, I use their setting powder. And then when it comes to some of the other clean skincare things, there are obviously ingredients that you want to stay away from that are insanely toxic. And these are ingredients that, by the way, are banned in other countries. And yet, for some reason, our FDA deems them okay for Americans. So yeah, go ahead and poison Americans, no big deal. But as I mentioned on the podcast, I will tell you guys, there are 3 apps that I use that are very easy. Yucca is probably my go-to, Y-U-K-A, and it has a little carrot icon on the app. And you can go on there and you can literally just scan barcodes. So I look like a crazy lady when I'm at the grocery store. I'm just like scanning barcodes everywhere I go. And that's a great one. It's mainly, what I have found is it's the best for food. When it comes to skincare, and this one I think is specifically targeted for pregnant women because it's called Little Bean, but it's great for skincare and makeup. So it has the option, you can either capture an ingredients list with your camera, you can upload a photo, like a screenshot of the ingredients list, or you can paste the text of the ingredients list. So I found that one is the best for skincare. And then this new one that's EWG Healthy Living is kind of a broad one for all of them, but they go into a little bit more detail on what the ingredients are and why they are not great for you. So those are just a few tips that I have. I also want to tell you, when it comes to organic eating and the things that we are putting in our body, and let me just go back to the skincare thing for a moment. Something that someone told me once upon a time that has really stuck with me is that your skin is just a big mouth. So everything you put on your skin, whether it's lotion, whether it's deodorant, you guys know that I switched over to natural deodorant, toothpaste, skincare, makeup, everything. Your skin is one big mouth. So make sure you are paying just as much attention to the toxins that go on your body and not just the ones that go in your body. So speaking of the top foods for detoxing, in my phone, you know how, I don't know if it's this way for non-iPhones, but you can hit the little heart on a picture and you can make it one of your favorites. So I have done that with a few health food graphics, and one of my favorite graphics is this one that I downloaded that's top foods for detoxing. Beets, garlic, I eat plenty of garlic, avocado, sauerkraut, lemons, Brussels sprouts, cilantro, yuck. By the way, fun fact about me, I have that gene mutation. I don't know, I can't remember what it's called. It's like a bunch of letters and numbers, but the gene mutation that makes lemongrass and cilantro taste like soap, I have it, so I can't eat cilantro. Cauliflower, carrots, and broccoli. So those are the top foods for detoxing, but I also wanted to share with you guys a little graphic that I actually keep editing it in my phone. Some of you might have heard of the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. So the fact of the matter is we should all be eating organic, but it's very expensive. It really is. So I have downloaded this graphic. You can see it's called Dirty Dozen and Clean 15, and you can see my little chicken scratch in the borders because I add to it. So the Dirty Dozen, these are the items, and it's now more than a dozen because I've added to the list, but these are the items that you should splurge to buy organic. So strawberries, spinach, potatoes, kale, collard, and mustard greens, peaches, pears, cherries, nectarines and peaches, apples, grapes, tomatoes, bell and hot peppers, cherries. Did I already say cherries? Yeah. Celery, blueberries, and green beans. The Clean 15 are items in the produce section that you don't have to buy organic, either because they have a strong enough peel that you don't eat, or because the nature of the fruit and its enzymes that it typically, by the time it reaches your body, by the time it reaches your plate, the pesticides have either been released or they just never were absorbed in the first place. So on the Clean 15 list, again, more than 15 because I've added to them, but avocados, sweet corn, pineapples, onions, papayas, sweet peas, asparagus, honeydew melons, kiwi, cabbage, mushrooms, mangoes, sweet potatoes, watermelon, carrots, broccoli, eggplant, cauliflower, cantaloupe, and grapefruit. So there are actually more items on the Clean 15 list than the other side, so that's good. Again, this is just anecdotal information from my side of things, my personal wisdom to all of you as I have been moving down this journey of just trying to be more healthy and not invite as many toxins into my body as I used to in the past before I became aware of all the toxins that are constantly competing to get into our bodies. So thanks so much to our federal government for allowing that to happen. And oh boy, I know it seems like it's a hard thing to do, to switch over to more clean things, but I'm telling you, it's one of those things that once you get the ball rolling, you're just going to start tossing stuff left and right. I don't do any of the Bath and Body Works nonsense anymore. I used to love it, you guys. I used to be that girl who every time Bath and Body Works had a sale, boy, I was there. I was buying the soaps, the hand sanitizers, the candles, the shower gel, the lotion, all of that stuff. And now there isn't a lick of it in my house. And I gave it all away. I probably gave away hundreds of dollars worth of Bath and Body Works stuff because of the chemical ingredients, the chemical fragrances that not only, you know, the lotions and stuff, obviously you put on your skin, but the candles, they burn. And because of the wax that they use, it literally sticks to the membranes in your nose. It gets absorbed into your system. It's awful, awful, awful. I'm gonna get sued by Bath and Body Works. Not really. Bath and Body Works is great, guys. I swear. Please just forget everything I said. All right, everybody. I hope you have a great rest of your Saturday and a great rest of your weekend. We are just a few days from Christmas. I am so excited to have this time with my family, and I hope that you all have a blessed Christmas as well. We will be having episodes that are coming out, I think Monday. We might be taking Wednesday off because it is, Wednesday's Christmas, right? Wednesday is Christmas. So we might take Wednesday off. I encourage all of you to just spend that day enjoying time with your family and friends, and of course, recognizing and celebrating the reason for the season. And then we'll be back on Friday, and we'll be back on schedule and ready to roll into 2025 with a new president. Hallelujah. Everybody have a great day. See you soon.